June 21st, 1966, near Cáp Airfield, North Vietnam. North Vietnam, June 21st, 1966. The sky is about to become a killing ground. An American F-8 Crusader will fall in flames, its pilot captured, and another Crusader damaged. Nearly out of fuel, will make the most desperate choice of his life, to turn back and fight.
I'm hit! Ejecting! Ejecting! Brake left. MiGs, 2 o'clock high.
This is my story. I was there, in the cockpit, when rescue turned to Retribution, and rivalry lit up the skies. This is the dogfight between the MiG-17 and the F-8 Crusader. Vietnam, 1966. Operation Rolling Thunder was in full force. For more than a year, American jets had hammered the North bridges, fuel depots, airfields. Each strike was meant to cripple the enemy's lifelines and force Hanoi to bend. But on June 21st, one target stood out, a bridge near Cáp Airfield, a vital artery feeding supplies into the war. From the deck of the USS Hancock, the strike force launched 6 A-4 Skyhawks loaded with bombs. Their job, level the bridge. Above them, the escort sleek, supersonic F-8 Crusaders, known as the Last Gunfighters. Leading the flight, Lieutenant Commander Cole Black, veteran and calm under fire. His number 2, Lieutenant Gene Chancey, sharp-eyed, quick on the trigger, and flying on Black's wing, a young pilot hungry to prove himself, Lieutenant Phil Vampatella. Meanwhile, in another section, a lone RF-8A reconnaissance Crusader flown by Lieutenant Leonard Eastman, tasked with photographing the strike's results. His escort, Vampatella's roommate, Dick Smith, Hancock Tower. Crusader 1-1 launching, burners lit, wheels up. They climbed into hostile skies. But the enemy was waiting hidden, silent, patient. Eastman rolled in low, cameras clicking. But ground fire lit him up. Flak burst around his jet. Seconds later, his Crusader was on fire.
I'm hit! Ejecting! Ejecting! Ejecting!
A white parachute blossomed over the valley. Eastman was down, alive, but alone, deep in enemy territory. Instantly, his wingman Dick Smith dove into action, orbiting low, calling for rescue. Black and the others broke off from escorting the Skyhawks and joined them, circling at 2,000 feet, holding the line above their fallen comrade. But the valley was a trap. Anti-aircraft fire laced the sky. Vampatella's Crusader shuddered, hit by flak. Warning lights flashed, fuel leaking, and yet he refused to leave. Warning lights are flickering, fuel gauge dropping, but I can't leave him out there, not alone. For 10 minutes they circled, fuel draining, danger rising. Finally, Black gave the order. Smith and Vampatella, break off, find the tanker. But even as they turned away, in the distance, the air war shifted. From Cáp Airfield, 4 MiG-17s roared to life. Their leader, Pham Thanh Nguyen, a rising star of the North Vietnamese Air Force. Within moments, their wheels left the ground. The hunt had from Cáp Airfield. The ground shook as 4 MiG-17s thundered down the runway. At their head, Pham Thanh Nguyen, calm, disciplined, a pilot who would one day rise to command an entire air force. But today, his mission was simple: strike the intruders circling over Bac Giang. The MiG-17 was no longer cutting edge. Born in the early 1950s, it was subsonic, slower than the supersonic American Crusader. But speed wasn't its weapon. Agility was. Armed with 3 cannons, 2 23mm and 1 massive 37mm, it could shred a target in a single burst. Guided by ground control, MiG pilots had learned to fight low, to bleed their opponents into tight turns where American missiles failed and guns ruled. With ground radar feeding them vectors, the MiGs skimmed the treetops, climbing unseen into the fight. Above, Cole Black scanned his sector. Then movement. 2 o'clock, half a mile, diving fast. The MiGs had arrived.
2 o'clock high. Break right.
The Crusaders reacted instantly. Wings snapped into a turn, cannons armed. The sky erupted. Gene Chancey lined up a MiG and squeezed the trigger. 20mm shells stitched across its fuselage. A wing tore free. The enemy flashed past so close that, in his words, I could have counted the pilot's teeth. It was one of the rare gun kills of the missile age, fitting for a jet nicknamed the Last Gunfighter. But the victory was short-lived. From behind, Pham Thanh Gan rolled in. His cannons roared.
I'm hit. Fire control's gone. I'm punching out.
Black's Crusader blossomed into a fireball. He ejected, parachute opening just as the wreckage slammed into the earth. Within minutes, he would be captured, joining Eastman as a prisoner of war, miles away. Dick Smith and Phil Vampatella heard the calls, their leader down. The sky chaos. Smith pushed throttle forward, racing back. But Vampatella lagged, his jet wounded, gauges screaming.
You got Black. I said a second. I can't let him walk away.
He knew the risks. His Crusader had been hit by flak earlier, fuel leaking fast. But anger drowned out caution. Vampatella pulled hard, nose swinging back toward the fight. The MiGs swirled with the Crusaders in a deadly dance, silver jets and gray fighters spinning through flak bursts and tracer fire. For 2 full minutes, the battle became a blur, each pilot straining against gravity, lungs burning under 9 Gs, hearts pounding louder than their engines.
Fox 2, missile away. Damn, he flared. He's on my 6.
Chansey fired a Sidewinder, but the MiG jinked. The missile sailed wide. Now he was the hunted, tracers snapping past his canopy. In the chaos, Vampatella locked eyes on a MiG. He rolled inverted, dove, fuel needle quivering on empty. His mind raced. He might never make it back to the carrier. But one thought anchored him. Retribution.
Fuel's gone, bird's crippled, but if I can get him in my sights, just one shot, this is for Black.
Vampatella pulled the trigger. An AIM-9D Sidewinder streaked off the rail, a white smoke trail cutting across the valley. Seconds later, impact. The MiG vanished in a fireball. Some records say it was Juan Trong Tan who fell that day, covering his leader Ngan. Others dispute who fired the fatal shot. But in Vampatella's cockpit, there was no doubt he had avenged his commander. Yet victory came at a price. Vampatella's Crusader trembled, fuel nearly gone, alarm screaming. He was still deep over enemy territory, and somewhere, another MiG was closing in.
Fuel needle's dead. Warning lights everywhere, but I'm not done yet.
Outnumbered, hunted Phil Vampatella now faced the cruelest choice of all. Run or stay and fight to the end. Low on fuel, bleeding hydraulics. Phil Vampatella had every reason to disengage, but rage kept his hands locked on the stick. His commander Coal Black was gone, and the MiG that did it was still out there.
One chance. That's all I need.
He pushed the throttle into afterburner. The Crusader screamed forward, engines howling as if in protest. Ahead, a MiG-17 rolled through the haze, banking hard, its silver wings flashing in the sun.
Fox 2. Fox 2.
The Sidewinder leapt free, a white trail of vengeance. The missile curved, homing in on the MiG's burning tailpipe. Seconds later, impact. The MiG vanished in a ball of fire. The pilot, likely Juan Trong Tan, never made it out. In the chaos, history blurred. Some records credit Chansey, others Vampatella. But in that cockpit, Phil was certain he had evened the score. Yet the fight was far from over. At low altitude, Gene Chansey found himself locked in a desperate chase of his own. He fired a Sidewinder, watched it streak wide as the MiG pulled an impossible turn. Then tables turned.
He's on me! Brake left!
Fuel's gone, I'm hit, damn it, he's still there!
He's on me. Brake left. Fuel's gone. I'm hit, damn it. He's still there. Cannon fire stitched the air around him. Chansey slammed the throttle. Afterburner screaming, diving for the safety of the coast. Every second felt like eternity. He was out of options. Run or die. Overhead, Vampatella too was hunted. He yanked the Crusader inverted, dove for the treetops, leaves and branches whipping past his canopy. Behind him, tracers slashed the air, At the last moment, the MiG broke off, unwilling to follow him into the ground.
Still alive, but fuel's bone dry. God, get me out of here!
Now came the cruelest enemy of all silence. The battlefield faded behind them, but their tanks were empty. Warning lights blinked. The ocean stretched endlessly below. Then a lifeline, an A4 Skyhawk appeared, flown by Lieutenant Art Culver. Slung beneath its belly was a buddy store refueling pod. But there was one problem. It was empty.
I'm dry too, but I can give you what's left inside. We'll share it. Just enough for one shot at the boat.
Flying wingtip to wingtip, Culver calculated the impossible. They would split what little fuel remained, hoping it was enough for both jets to trap aboard the Hancock.
Just hold together. Come on, baby.
Minutes later, the USS Hancock loomed into view. The deck was slick, the wind high. Vampatella lowered his hook. Praying for a miracle, the Crusader slammed down, caught the wire. Safe. Seconds later, Culver followed. Wheels screeching, hook grabbing steel. Against every odd, both men had made it home. June 21st, 966. One day, one battle, two truths. An American commander shot down and captured. A Vietnamese MiG pilot killed in action. Each side claimed victory. The history books still argue who fired the fatal shot, who owned the skies that day. But for the men in those cockpits, there was no debate. They had stared death in the face. They had fought. They had bled. And some never came home. This was more than rescue, more than rivalry. It was retribution written in smoke and fire. Over the skies of Bac Giang. In Va, victories are claimed, but survival is the only truth.